All right, so the ED glass revolution is here. It's been here for the past year, but I think people are finally starting to catch on. ED glass is camera grade, extremely low dispergent glass, and that is what these optics are rocking. Big fan of these. I just got back from the range with this one right here, this Archangel. This thing impressed quite a few people at the range. My buddy was asking me for a link to this because he sold his $1,800 Vortex scope a while ago, and he said that this glass very easily compares to that. And when I told him how much one of these cost, it blew his mind. So I'm in love with this thing. This is a great design. I really appreciate brands that actually try to make something new for themselves. We got to give them some points for just making a very sexy, different looking optic here. And boy, does this thing perform. I didn't have a cameraman to take to the range with me. I did get a shot of me just one hand shooting this thing on the bipod and talking about the lack of recoil on this thing. The weight of this optic helps. And while we're talking about weight, that's probably the only downfall that some people are going to find about this optic. It's a big chunky boy. This is a very big solid piece of aluminum, and it is super tanky. Now, anybody that complains about weight, well, we have the Panzer right here. These things are very light. I personally don't think they're going to be as durable because they're so much lighter. It only makes sense. But if you're so worried about the weight, here's your solution right here. You're getting the same quality ED glass, right? You're just getting a different housing, something much lighter. I do believe they are making these Panzers with the new reticles. I think they're going to have those available on all of their new optics. And the reticle in this is such a big upgrade. So one of the problems that you have with LPVOs in the lower magnification on your 1X is actually losing your center dot, right? Because on a first focal point scope, in your 1X, your dot is tiny. And then as you zoom into the magnification, that little dot gets bigger and bigger, and then it turns into your crosshairs, and you have your little Christmas tree and stuff in there. But when you zoom back out to the 1X, you literally have a little dot that you're working with. So that's been an issue for a lot of different companies. What Monstrum did was something very straightforward and simple. They put a giant ring around that center point. So in your 1X magnification, you have this big donut of death, and it draws your eye into the center point where your dot is. So it's really hard to lose your dot in the 1X. When I compare the reticle on this to one of their old Panzers, this takes the cake and eats it too. It is so much better to have that ring. And if you're worried about that thing being in the way, don't, because as soon as you zoom in to 6 times magnification, that ring disappears and you just have your nice crosshair in the center with your Christmas tree. They have them in MOA and they have them in mill. Very awesome stuff. Was very excited about that. That completely changes the game in 1X. And 1X is what these scopes are all about. The majority of the shooting that you're going to be doing is going to be in 1X. A good LPVO needs to have a really good 1X. That is the first thing that drew me into the Panzer. The 1X on this is great. These optics are calibrated around an amazing 1X. If you don't want to take my word for it, look up Moondog Industries' video that he did on the Panzer. He compared the Panzer to an $1,800 Vortex, and the Panzer had a better 1X. The Vortex had a better 10X, I think. But the important thing is we're comparing an $1,800 scope to a $200 scope, and this scope actually wins in any category. That's amazing. That blew my mind. So I got a Panzer. I actually have, well, here's another one too. I have 3 Panzers altogether. And I have been using this Panzer the most. These other Panzers, I have another one that's just still in the box. I opened this one up just to take the mount out because I was going to do something else with that. The important thing is this Panzer right here has a ton of mileage on it. I've literally been waiting for this thing to break over the past year. This has been on my 308 rifle, my 7.62 by 39. It then went on my Armalite 308 rifle. Let's see, and then for a while it was on my M10X here. So we're getting close to like 10,000 rounds of 7.62 by 39 and 308 on this scope, and she's held up. The scope has been awesome for me. No breakages to report, and I still have, 3 other Panzers sitting around. That's how much I value this. I've said for a while this is my favorite throwaway scope. It's a scope that I like having multiples of because if one of my buddies needs an optic, here you go, bro. I got you, right? And obviously the glass is phenomenal. Chinese ED glass, that stuff has come a long way. Is it as good as the German and Japanese ED glass? No, it's not. They've been doing it longer. They also want to charge 10 times the price for it. So it is what it is, but it is absolutely phenomenal that Panzers come with this ED glass. I've been shouting that from the rooftops over the past year. I've even compared other brands like Discovery Opt. They have optics that come close to the price, but they're not ED glass. They are HD glass, whatever that is. And I love one of their little Discovery optics that I have. It's a tiny little scope. It's a 2-12. The only downside is it's not ED glass, and I'm literally spoiled on this shit at this point. I can actually tell the difference between the ED glass and their HD glass. So, it is what it is. I've also been looking at what Primary Arms has been offering. I have to say, they have tried to sneak a few things to market to compete with something like this, but they're not really coming close. If you read the fine print, the only scope Primary Arms has dropped the price on to try to compete with a Panzer is actually not a first focal plane optic. It is a second focal plane, and it does not have ED glass, so it's out of the running already. It's not even close. That is why I absolutely love this thing. It is so hard to match the value on these, and now it's just become better all the way around. You can see the turrets are different. They're upgraded. It's a larger turret, easier to grip. I dig that. I love what they've done with everything, and this thing does look good. By the way, today this optic comes out in the 1/10 times magnification variant, so go and check that out. You can probably get 20% off of it because every time Monstrum launches a new optic, they give out a 20% off discount code. So that is absolutely awesome. You are not going to match the scope that you're going to get from them at that price. There's nothing else like it on the market. And I got to give credit to Monstrum here. They, I've been covering them for the past 2 years. The first Monstrum scopes that I got were good enough. These are awesome. Okay, they're not even comparable. These are so much better. Everything is just so much more solid and gnarly, and these things are distinct now, right? I love that they have their own look. This looks pretty gnarly on this rifle. I absolutely love it. Oh, and the brightness settings. The brightness has gotten better. These are definitely daylight bright. I only run this thing on setting 2 or 3. I can put this on setting 5 or 6. I can look at this light and I can still see red. And obviously I've taken it outside in the daylight. Most definitely daylight bright. So they've definitely been working on that. They have improved that. And I just think overall it is an amazing package what you're getting. The Panzer back here comes with this awesome mount. I mean, I could make a whole video just about this thing right here. These mounts are awesome. It's part of the reason why I took this one out of the box, just to get the mount to use it for something else. You can buy these mounts separately. I do believe they're like 40 stones. These are a 70-75 grade aluminum mount, okay? Primary Arms, once again, are selling a mount similar to this, but it's 60-61 grade aluminum, so you're technically getting a lesser grade aluminum, and they want 60 stones instead of 40. So you're paying 20 more, you're getting a lower grade of aluminum. These are the way to go. These rings are awesome. I've never had an issue with them. I've even bought these rings separately, so I have like 4 pairs of these things around my armory. But these new Archangel optics, they come with the mount already built into it, and that's why they're such an awesome choice as just a backup to have in your gun bag, because, well, if anything happens, you pull one of these out with the Torx bit and you mount this. You don't have to level anything, you don't have to dick around with anything. You can literally snap this thing on, tighten up a couple bolts, and you are good to go. Aside from that, these things are really solid on the rail. They have 4 traction bars at the bottom, so there's not going to be any shift. This thing's not moving anywhere. I am solid on that. I'm going to be putting this thing on a 308 rifle and probably putting a few hundred rounds through it, but I anticipate that I'm just going to get the same performance that I have been with this 7.62 by 39 setup. This thing is solid. It has not budged. It has just been a joy overall. I'm so happy with this thing. Really excited with the stuff that they are coming out with. I wish I could have been at SHOT Show 2025 just to check out their booth. They have a Terminator scope that looks mwah. It just looks so good. It's definitely its own thing. It doesn't look like a generic scope. I absolutely love that they're doing that. Monstrums being very original, and yo, I'm here for it, especially if you're bringing the ED glass. You're saving me a ton of money, and your products are getting so much better every year. It's actually very impressive. This brand is one to watch. Now, you might think I'm a little biased just because of, well, the great experience that I've had with them. I'm just telling you guys the truth. There is a reason why I keep ordering this stuff and it keeps showing up at my door. I really feel like I'm just getting an awesome bang for my buck, and their stuff keeps getting so much better and better. It is what it is. I'm gonna keep doing it. So this is my Archangel after range report. This is what I think about this thing, you know, after taking it to the range. Still very excited about it, right? And just everything. I don't know if I covered everything, but it's that damn good, especially when you factor in how much these things cost. It's mind-blowing. This right here, this brand, is why in 2025 nobody has an excuse to not have an optic on their rifle. Like, just that excuse doesn't exist anymore. I don't want to hear a damn thing about how they're so expensive, you couldn't afford it. You definitely can, and you can get something pretty good for your money, right? So leave me a comment. The comment section's open. Let me know if I missed anything. And hey, we're just talking about this Archangel and this Panzer here. I still have this Challenger back here, and that is awesome. I don't know if you guys can hear that. All new clicker system in here. Their 3/18 scope has just gotten so much better. It is ridiculous. I have some of their older optics. They don't click like this, and the eye relief, everything. This is also ED glass, so it's kind of hard to compare any of the older optics to this because they don't have the ED glass, right? And when you're talking about a 3/18 scope, you know, I can say this. Their older optics, because they didn't have ED glass in the way they were shaping their lens, you could have like I don't know, 10 inches of eye relief and you could still see through your scope. Um, this ED glass, it doesn't work like that. You have 4 inches of eye relief. I would still take the ED glass any day. You're getting a much clearer picture. These things are just better in every way. And these new turrets, yo, there is like no play between each click. Other scopes that I've sampled, especially budget scopes, you could if you really turn the turret really slow, you could get it to stop between clicks. I can't do that with these. I just can't. So they have a really good internal system here. Nice, loud, audible clicks. And the glass is actually upgraded. Hands down, this is awesome. To be able to shoot out to 1,000 yards with a 3-18 like this, for the price, is actually mind-blowing, okay? And yes, these will fit onto these awesome mounts. Monstrum even makes an adjustable cant mount, so you can adjust the cant of your optic. Very cool. They do innovative stuff. They think outside the box. I haven't had a chance to try this thing yet, but in concept, this is cool, and it's not like it cost me a fortune. Why wouldn't I get it? Right? So excited to test this out next. This is going on a 308 rifle, and I'm going to be doing some outdoor shooting with this. I cannot wait. And oh, that's right, we took the fin off of this because I wanted to make sure that this could fit on a scope switch. Antimatter scope switch, baby. Yeah. I don't know if you heard, but this is peak performance. What a scope switch does is let you zoom in and out with your scope using a push pad instead of actually having to manually turn these things. So the Panzer is 98% compatible with the scope switch, and probably the most affordable way to get a scope switched optic on the market. I say 98% because this little nub here, you do have to cut into it, and that's why I don't have one of these on a scope switch yet. I'm still trying to figure out which one of these I want to do that with. But hey, you know, if it all goes bad and I mess that cut up, it's not like I'm out a $2,500 optic. That is another reason why these are so awesome. I can take chances with these things and I can try different things. So I feel really good about that. And to finish this all off, on our last note here, these adjustment rings here, right? They're smooth. Like this right here was my prime candidate for the scope switch because this is so smooth and easy to turn. And antimatter industry will tell you that, you know, that's what works the best with a scope switch, is something that is very fluid and very easy to turn like this. And this Panzer, yeah, this is probably going to be the one just because of how nice and easy it is. Well, the reason I bring this up is because it is amazing how good and smooth these things are for the price that you're paying. The Discovery optics that I've sampled, they cost a little bit more than Monstrum, and their adjustment rings were not coming in like this. It was not smooth like this. I've actually sent them an email because with one of their, you know, more expensive optics, it was actually pretty grimy turning that thing. They never got back to me on that, but interestingly enough, I've never had an issue with any griminess or any weird sounds with any of these Panzers or any of these optics here. They're always smooth, right? So that's definitely something to point out. They got this figured out really well, and you're getting something really good for what you're paying. And I think that is just the bare minimum that needs to be said about Monstrum stuff in 2025. So I will see you at the range, and I have a lot of stuff to test. Can't wait to get out there. See you on the flip side. Hope you enjoyed. Comments are open. Have an awesome day.